Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Cooties. You are what they eat.
Written by Leigh Whannell and Ian Brennan, directed by Cary Murnionand and Jonathan Milott, starring Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson, Alison and Jack McBrayer, Cooties is about a bunch of children who get infected by diseased chicken and then who become zombie-like creatures and attack the town of Fort Chicken. What do we like about this movie, guys?
The production value of this movie is top-notch. It's high quality. We have some blood and guts towards the beginning of the film, which look pretty great, and the lighting overall was actually really well done.
I also enjoyed the cinematography in this film. I thought they used a lot of cool shots, and they really played to the depth of field by creating a creepy atmosphere in certain scenes.
What didn't we like about this film, guys? This movie was, to sum it up, a big letdown. Now, we saw the trailer, we did a reaction on this channel, and we were pretty excited for it. It had a very promising cast, a really good concept with kids as zombies in a school. We thought it would be hilarious. Even just killing kid zombies could be very funny. Except we got a movie where none of us laughed out loud once.
Every single joke was cringeworthy.
Do real. Do real. Do real. Do real.
The comedy isn't there. If you're used to Rainn Wilson's comedy, it's not the same. If you're used to Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock, it's not 30 Rock comedy. One of the writers is from Glee. It's not Glee comedy. This is pinpointed at like 10-year-olds, and it shouldn't be because it's like an R-rated film, so they can't watch it anyway. So I don't know who this movie's for, but they're not going to reach their target audience, and they're not going to make their money back.
The other writer is of Insidious and Saw. They fell flat in both genres.
It was trying to be this like meta parody humor, but it wasn't there, it wasn't right. I think if it just took itself seriously, the humor would come from the situation where they just have to kill a bunch of kids. Like, that would be funny. Any of the dialogue wasn't funny, none of the situations were tense, it just missed on all marks.
Yeah, and it was forced one-liners. And what also wasn't funny was the fact that the execution of the one-liners weren't even entertaining.
And most of the one-liners weren't even jokes.
Okay, I got this.
That's not even a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And the way that you're saying it is not passionate. Why even fucking talk half the time? That's how it would have felt like with a lot of the jokes that they made. Like, if they just didn't say anything, it would have been better. In general, the whole movie is really boring. Like, I almost fell asleep. I had to ask if Trav was still awake because we weren't talking, we weren't laughing. It was a really bad time.
And normally if a movie's bad, we'll crack jokes about it to entertain ourselves. But in this case, there was nothing we can make fun of. Like, there was no, like, what-if moments.
Because the production value was so high, you can't even, like, joke about, like, oh, there's this stupid filming, like, there's the camera guy. None of that stuff can happen because it was done so well on that end. But then the story, the comedy, the horror just ruins the fucking movie. On the horror aspect, like, we've been knocking the comedy, but the horror, you have humans who can't be infected, right? They're adults, and they make it very clear. It's like, oh, you guys can't get hurt. So there eliminates one aspect of tension. You see them throwing the kids around and like, yeah, people were killed, but it was very clear that they could easily overpower them. So that sense of tension was gone too. So there's no horror to this. It's just like they could run outside and get away.
And there was no motivation behind like the characters. One of the big plot points in the movie was going to get No Henry from a vending machine. I think that was the entire second act, was getting a chocolate bar because a kid passed out. And then the movie ended. And the movie ended very abruptly. We didn't even know that it was an end until like the credits started rolling. It was just fucking terrible.
I just want to toss out possible foreshadowing in this film. Beginning, Elijah Wood's mom.
I think the characters were a tiny bit unlikable. It was a little slow. I found myself a little bored, to be honest. Frankly, I couldn't figure out the plot. It was kind of insulting, and there was no specificity in the writing in terms of time and place.
Okay.
And where was the inciting incident?
Okay.
I don't know if they were trying to make like some sort of reference or like, clearly they were. They're like, okay, you know, your story, nobody likes it. No, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, maybe it's like a big ha-ha, like this is the movie you're in for. But that's more of like a fuck you than everybody's in on the joke type of thing. It's time for our final thoughts and ratings. This movie was a huge disappointment. We went in expecting something hilarious and fun, and instead we got something that didn't make us laugh. It was boring. It just missed the mark on everything. The production value was high, it was shot well, it got those things right, but it didn't make up for the fact that I just didn't enjoy the movie. So I'm gonna give this 1.5 Jorge Garcias out of 5.
This movie was terrible, it was boring, and it wasn't funny in the slightest. I was supremely let down by this film. I really like Rainn Wilson, and I like everything that he's been in, and I like some of the other characters as well, but unfortunately the writing was awful. Like, not one joke was funny. I didn't laugh one time in this horror comedy. We thought we were gonna get some unique situations, being that we're in a school and we had kids, but it played out just like every other goddamn zombie movie that we've reviewed on this show. There was no interesting kills. They made a few cool weapons that they didn't really use, and then the fucking movie ended. Don't waste your time. So I'm gonna give this half a, hey look guys, we're making a horror movie, so check out this Chucky doll out of 5.
After seeing the trailer for this movie, I was super pumped. Love Rainn Wilson, love Elijah Wood, and you know what? It sucked. It was not funny, it was not entertaining. The only part I found myself chuckling at was when Rainn Wilson and Elijah Wood were making a Lord of the Rings reference. That was the best part of the film for me. The rest of it, not worth your time. The cinematography was cool, and they had some really nice practical effects, but other than that, the story was just boring and it just dragged itself out. So that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1 my name looks like something else on the chalkboard out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't, don't bother. Watch anything else. Watch the slashing. This is just a waste of time and it's not funny. That one is funny, so. Oh, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our reactions, reviews, and games of What Would You Do.